Hello students, in today's lecture we will discuss next question, significance of the title of the story, The Telltale Heart, written by Edgar Allan Poe. So let's now discuss the answer of this question. Edgar Allan Poe has given a very meaningful and significant title to this story, The Telltale Heart. It is very telling and revealing, means the title is very expressive. To reveal something means to express something. So the title of the story is very telling and expressive. The word telltale means that which betrays something which is meant to be kept secret. The word telltale, the meaning of this word is something which betrays and which is meant to be kept a secret. The telltale heart refers to the sound of the beating of the old man's heart. The telltale heart word has been used by the writer to express his feeling or to express his thinking about the beating of the old man's heart. The sound goes on ringing in the ears of the narrator. It grows louder and louder and louder till he can hear it no more. He breaks down and confesses his crime before the police officers. Students, as we have already discussed in the story and in our previous lectures in which we have discussed the important questions, we have already discussed that to get rid of the pale blue vulture-like eye of the old man, the narrator murders him by smashing his own bed upon him, by smashing him with his own bed and pulling his own bed upon him. And after that, when he buries the cut pieces of the dead body of that old man under the planks of his floor, after that he starts hearing the beating sound of the heart of that old man. It grows louder, 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 and till he can hear it no more. He breaks down and confesses his crime before the police officers. And after that, as we have already read, that the police officers visit his house to investigate about the shrieking sound which came from his house at the midnight. Thus, the sound of the beating of the old man's heart betrays the secret of his murder. That sound is only the mental obsession of the narrator, and the beating sound betrays the secret of his murder. He starts thinking that the police officers knew everything about the murder, about him committing the murder of that old man. That's why he confesses his crime in front of it before the police officers who come to his house for investigation. So that sound is only the mental obsession of the narrator. There is something eccentric and abnormal about the narrator. He suffers from illusions and hallucinations. He is haunted by the pale blue eyes of the old man. They are the eyes of vulture. He kills the old man to get rid of that mental obsession. A fresh obsession starts haunting his mind. It is the sound of the beating of the old man's heart. The sound of that telltale heart betrays him and reveals the secret of the murder committed by him. As we have already discussed, that to get rid of his pale blue eye, he murders that person, and after murdering him, he starts hearing the beating sound of his heart, and that sound of that telltale heart of that old man betrays him. Betray means to cheat someone. That sound cheats him and reveals and expresses the secret of the murder committed by the narrator. The narrator suffers from illusions and hallucinations. He is not a normal man. The narrator is not a normal man. He has something abnormal and eccentric in his nature. He hears things which are not there at all. He has a strong, powerful sense of hearing. That's why he can hear the things which are not there at all. He admits that he has always been dreadfully nervous. It has sharpened his senses. His sense of hearing is very sharp. He can hear all things in the heaven and on the earth. He can hear many things in hell. Means he is able to hear the things even from a very distance. On the eighth night, he opens the door of the old man's room with more than usual caution. He is determined to murder the old man. He is happy at the thought that the old man knows nothing of his plan to murder him. So, in order to kill him, he goes into the room of that old man for 7 nights, but uh, he's unable to kill him. But on the eighth night, he goes into the room of that old man. Now his sharp ears can hear the low, dull sound of the beating of the old man's heart. It goes on increasing. It grows quicker and louder every moment. It excites him to uncontrollable terror. He tries to control himself, but the beating grows louder and louder, and he thinks that the old man's heart will burst. A new fear grips his mind. The sound of the beating may be heard by a neighbor, so he attacks the old man to stop the beating of his heart. And when the beating sound of the heart of that old man grows louder and louder, a kind of horror, a kind of fear grips his mind, captures his mind. The sound of the beating may be heard by a neighbor. He thinks that this sound may be heard by his neighbor, and so he attacks the old man to stop the beating of his heart. In a moment, he drags the old man to the floor and pulls the heavy bed over him. Still, the old man's heart goes on beating with a muffled sound. The sound stops at last. The narrator removes the bed. The old man is stone dead. The narrator leaves no stain, no spot or blood spot anywhere. He dismembers means he cuts the body. Corpse means dead body. He cuts the dead body into pieces and conceals. Conceal means to hide something, and hides those cut pieces of the dead body of that old man under the pieces planks of the floor. He shows no sign of fear when three police officers come, because the shriek was heard by a neighbor during the night. Suspicion of foul play was aroused and the neighbor informed the police. The police officers come to make a search. So after he commits the murder, he commits the crime of murdering that old man. A shrieking sound is heard by the neighbor of narrator, and he informs the police, and police comes to his house. The narrator smiles and welcomes them, but he doesn't leave any stain or blood spot anywhere. He shows no sign of fear when the police officers came to his house. And the narrator smiles and welcomes them. When the police officers came to his house, he gives them a smile and he welcomes them with a smile. He explains that the shriek was his own in a dream. He is so confident that he brings chairs into the room for them. He places his own seat upon the spot under which the dismembered body of the old man is lying. He is at ease and the police officers are satisfied. They continue sitting and chatting. He feels that he is growing pale. He wishes them gone. His head aches and he hears a ringing in his ears. The ringing sound becomes loud and clear. He grows very pale. The sound increases and he gasps for breath. So he behaves very boldly before the police officers. He welcomes them with smile. He explains everything regarding the shrieking sound at night. He is so confident that he brings chairs for the police officers to sit in the room where the cut pieces of the dead body of that old man were lying. He is very comfortable before them. He continues chatting with them, talking with them, but during his conversation with the police officers, he feels that he is growing pale, that he's feeling some nervous. He wishes them gone. He wishes that the police officers to go from there. His head aches and he hears the ringing in his ears. The ringing sound is the sound of the beating of old man's heart. He grows very pale. The sound of beating of old man's heart increases, and the narrator gasps for breath. The sound of the telltale heart makes him restless. The police officers are in no mood to go away. He walks on the floor. The telltale sound grows louder. The officers talk and smile. He wonders whether they hear the sound. They must have heard it. He feels that they knew everything and they are making a mockery of his terror. And that beating sound of that old man's heart makes the narrator restless. He doesn't feel at ease on hearing that sound. uh, he walks on the floor here and there, to and fro. The telltale sound of old man's heart grows louder. The officers continue talking and smiling. He wonders whether the police officers, hear the sound. They must have heard it. He thinks that the police officers must have heard the beating sound of that old man. He feels that they knew everything and they are making a mockery of his terror. The sound grows louder and becomes unbearable. When the sound grows louder, then it becomes intolerable. Intolerable means he cannot tolerate that sound of heartbeat of the old man anymore. He breaks down and the cat is out of the bag, and the cat is out of the bag means he confesses his crime before the police officers. The telltale heart of the old man betrays the narrator. Cheats. So the telltale heart of the old man, the beating sound of the old man, cheats the narrator. It betrays the secret of murder. So yes, the telltale heart of that old man cheats the secret of murder. Thus, the title is very significant, meaningful, and revealing. Thus, we can say that the title of the story, The Telltale Heart, is very significant. It is also meaningful and revealing. Revealing means it expresses everything regarding the title of the story. Tomorrow we will continue with the next lecture. Thank you. Thank you very much.